Festival, presented by Capital.
September 20th and 21st, streaming live only on Hulu.
A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. That's AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of the 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
This is Brad Youngbuth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. We have two big humps in this business, right before summer and right after fall. And for us, that's when the lines are the longest. Folks usually choose to do their exterior work during those times. And what I'm trying to do here with this message is level out the flow of business so that we don't have to disappoint anyone come November and December because they were hoping to get their work done before the snow flies. I understand where the focus is during summer, but you know what? It really is a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows, because that's when the lines are the shortest, and it's the one time that we're pretty sure we're not going to get any snow. So if you're looking to get your work done, why put it off? The lines are shorter and we'll be ready. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Summer is here, and it's time to gather with family and friends for outdoor barbecues and backyard fun. Hi, this is Eric Weishar, president of Breckenridge Landscape. Have you been thinking about a new patio for entertaining? Maybe an outdoor kitchen for weekend cookouts, or perhaps a pergola to create a nice shady spot to relax in? Let our team of landscape designers and installation craftsmen at Breckenridge Landscape create the perfect outdoor room for you. Send us a message at BreckenridgeLandscape.com and let us get started on your next landscape project.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
The Wisconsin Elections Commission meeting right now to discuss the recent Wisconsin Supreme Court ruling allowing ballot drop boxes once again in Wisconsin. And it does sound like they are going to follow the court's ruling and issue guidance to clerks. Remember, it's WEC who has the final say here. The Supreme Court merely said that they're legal. It didn't say whether or not they should be used or anything like that. Ultimately, that guidance goes to WEC, and it's up to the individual municipal clerks or election commissions in a different city or whatever to decide whether or not to use the ballot drop boxes. We will let you know as soon as a decision is reached. It should be noted that the Wisconsin Supreme Court's decision reversing itself. Remember, it was less than 2 years ago that the then conservative majority held that there is nothing in state law that allows for a ballot drop box. Absolutely nothing. Liberal Supreme Court, they reverse it. Apparently, stare decisis, let the decision stand. Respect for settled law only really matters when it's the left screaming about it. On the issue of abortion. Roe v. Wade was settled law. It was settled law. Apparently, ballot drop boxes. That decision wasn't settled law. This is the topic of my latest column at the McIver Institute, McIverInstitute.com, where you can find it. Wisconsin law absolutely does not allow for ballot drop boxes. Now, how do you suppose liberal Justice Ann Walsh Bradley, writing for the majority in the decision released the day after the 4th of July, second straight major holiday weekend, well, I guess Memorial Day is in there, but the two big holidays, 4th of July and Christmas, the Supreme Court releases highly controversial and incredibly flawed opinions impacting the upcoming election. Ann Walsh Bradley, writing for the majority, says placing a ballot in a drop box is identical to returning it to a municipal clerk in person. State law requires that A, you mail in your absentee ballot, or B, you return it in person to the clerk. Walsh Bradley writes, quote, "A drop box is set up, maintained, secured, and emptied by the municipal clerk. This is the case even if the drop box is in a location other than the municipal clerk's office. As analyzed, the statute does not specify a location to which a ballot must be returned and requires only that the ballot be delivered to a location the municipal clerk within his or her discretion designates." Only the statute actually does specify where the ballot is to be returned. Wisconsin Statute 6.87, that's the very statute that Walsh Bradley claims is ambiguous. It states unequivocally, absentee ballots must be, quote, delivered in person to the municipal clerk issuing the ballot or ballots. What is the plain meaning of in person? According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, in person means in one's bodily presence, which describes something done by or with a person who is physically present, as in she conducted several in-person interviews for the job. Now, under this definition, would she also be able to conduct an in-person interview by dropping the answers to her boss's questions in a box for that boss to pick up later? That is not in person. For Bradley and her fellow liberals to believe that in person doesn't actually mean in person, they'd have to be too stupid to read a dictionary. Now, this is admittedly a distinct possibility, but it's much likelier the justices just wanted to have ballot drop boxes back and didn't care how they possibly could butcher the English language any further. Now, here's an easy way to prove that Bradley, that Protasewicz, that Jill Karofsky, that Dallett, they actually know what in person means. Here's an easy test. Have they ever allowed an attorney to argue in person before them by writing their arguments down and then leaving them in a box a few dozen blocks away from their chambers in the Wisconsin Capitol for a clerk to pick up later? Would that be an in-person argument before the Supreme Court? All right, attorney, you are going to argue in person at the Supreme Court. Just leave your answers to all of the questions in a box. We'll correspond by leaving questions in a box that'll be delivered to you, and then you respond by leaving your answers in a box that'll be delivered to us. Seriously, would any court anywhere allow in-person arguments to be done this way? No, of course not. Why are we allowing quote-unquote in-person balloting to be done this way? Because it's the liberal Supreme Court, and they are terrible at actually doing the job of being a court. They're great at doing whatever Democrats want to do. They're a great Democrat supermajority. But when it comes to actually presenting arguments that some idiot on the radio can't refute in 30 seconds, they're really, really bad. Like, can we pause for a second? to admire just how easily you can debunk supposedly one of the greatest jurists in the state of Wisconsin's argument. Yes, we're not sure what in person means. Okay, Anne, I am inviting you. I am hereby inviting all 4 liberal Wisconsin Supreme Court justices to appear on my show all at once. You are going to appear in person. It is going to be great. We're going to do an interview. I'll drop off my questions in a box outside your office. Give it about 3 or 4 weeks. You can drop off your answers to me. Dan O'Donnell Show. How else are the Democrats planning on, shall we say, creatively interpreting election law? We'll discuss coming up next.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott. And if you're someone with chronic back pain, listen up. I have really good news and a number you can call to get some relief. If your back pain is due to a disc problem, there's a non-surgical procedure that can help discs actually grow and recover. It's called Disc Seal. This FDA-approved biologic repairs damaged discs with a simple injection. Takes about 20 minutes, minimally invasive, no surgery, no fusion, no metal rods, and no long recovery time. Best of all, Disc Seal works. Pain relieved, flexibility restored, success rate over 80%. Chronic back pain is miserable. This could be your chance to play golf again, do some gardening, ride your bike, get your life back. It's Disc Seal powered by Longevity Health 360. Call for a consultation absolutely free, 262-200-2700, or visit WIDiscSeal, that's SEEL.com. Disc Seal, powered by Longevity Health 360.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy the highest-end Beautyrest Black and Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near their highest-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These mattresses are the best, and you can get them for way less. Like the Split King Tempur-Pedic Luxe Breeze in softer firm was $10,198, now just $25,448. Or the Queen Beautyrest Black L-Class firm was $26,99, but the floor model is just $13,449. Plus, save with massive markdowns on adjustable bases, starting at $287. It's like buying a Rolls Royce for $10,000 just because it sat on the showroom floor. Selection is limited. Only a few floor models are available at each Hassellus location, and when they're gone for good. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
Repairing sunken or uneven concrete can be easy, clean, and half the price of replacing your concrete. Contact Raise Right to fix your trip hazards, driveway, sidewalk, pool deck, and more. Concrete lifting holes are small and nearly invisible. Go to WeRaiseConcrete.com. Raise Right, the #1 concrete lifting, foundation repair, and waterproofing team for Wisconsin homeowners. WeRaiseConcrete.com. That's WeRaiseConcrete.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank. Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at ManderCollision.com. That's ManderCollision.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their head heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
If you had $1 million in 2009, today it will be worth less than $700,000. That's the effect of out-of-control government spending shrinking your hard-earned dollars, and it's why central banks and savvy investors are buying gold. For thousands of years, gold has withstood war, famine, and economic downturns. It's been a stalwart hedge against inflation and hyperinflation. And the company I, Buck Sexton, trust to help you diversify into gold is Birch Gold Group. For 2 decades, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold, too.
To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 and get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Again, text SECURE to the number 989898 to protect your hard-earned savings today.
It's almost here. Team USA is headed to Paris, and iHeartRadio is the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics. It's the only way to listen to exclusive NBC play-by-play action of the games, plus NBC's top Olympic moments and live hourly updates from Paris. Bring the Summer Games with you everywhere you go. Download the free iHeart app now and enable push notifications for live updates from Paris. Only on iHeartRadio, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
I was just able to get some final confirmation on a story that I feel is a huge one. We are going to break at 10:06. You are not going to want to miss this, ladies and gentlemen. A suspect who was out and given numerous breaks, of course, by the judicial system, gets into a shootout with Milwaukee police detectives. He gets hit a couple of times. He gets away from the detectives, shows up at Froedtert Hospital, and then things get verifiably insane. And Milwaukee police are furious at Froedtert Hospital over what they say is a long-standing pattern of behavior. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss this story. It is coming up at 10:06. Let's go before that out to the phones and go to Jack in Caledonia. How you doing, Jack? You are on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Dan, thank you very much, and thanks for talking about this topic. A couple of years ago, I volunteered to be an observer, and I just thought I'd do it for a day. It's been a 2-year deal with me now. What I saw at the elections, what I witnessed, other things, I just said, we got to put a stop to this. So I got involved with a couple other local citizens, and it's just insane what's going on. What Protasewicz says about the drop boxes is absolutely incorrect. They are not legal. No. The other thing about a drop box is that, Dan, we have ballot drop boxes all over every city in America. They're called a post office drop box, where you can put your letters in. Okay. The other thing we have is that every house, every residence that can vote has a mailbox. You can fill out your ballot and put it in that mailbox. You don't even have to leave your house. Okay. And the post office man will take that out. The only reason drop boxes are there is because if you put a fraudulent ballot inside a U.S. postal box, you can be charged with mail fraud. Okay, if you do that for and put it in a drop box, a ballot drop box, there's no charge at all. Okay, that is that's going to add on to a fraudulent thing, a fraudulent charge. My point is that the only reason ballot drop boxes are there is to commit voter fraud. That's the only reason they're there. They're not convenient because you already have one by your house. I don't know how serious this is going to be, okay? But, I mean, back in 2020, okay, and this is just a rough number, but there are over 250,000 illegally processed ballots, meaning these are the people that put them in a drop box, okay? Mm-hmm. When it goes in the drop box, there's no chain of custody, okay? When you there's no time that says when the person received it. When you drop off your ballot at the city clerk's office, they initial it and they write the date they received it on the
there is, and okay. What you're saying is absolutely correct. There's no way to tell when the ballot was dropped off, how long it was sitting in this random little thing. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, what's the fundamental difference between that and the mailbox, right? Well, one is explicitly authorized by state law. Frankly, I don't believe that mail-in ballots are, to the letter of the law, ever legal for just use in mass quantities. In other words, if you need to get an absentee ballot, obviously you're infirm, we have indefinitely confined status here in Wisconsin, yes, you should be authorized to be able to get an absentee ballot that you mail back. No excuse absentee balloting, which we just sort of decided all of a sudden, long about the middle of the last decade, was early voting. It's not authorized anywhere. And you'll notice it's not done anywhere else in the country. The French just had big elections. The English just had big elections. Did those elections go for a month, or was it on a Sunday everybody got together and voted? I mean, this is... thank you very much for the phone call, Jack. But if the aim is to cheat, yes, ballot drop boxes are very easy to use for cheating. But you're saying, Dan, Democrats would never want to cheat. They only want to count legal votes from American citizens, right? They would never oppose a bill that requires only citizens vote, right? Wrong. All day on the floor of the House as it was debating the SAVE Act, a Republican bill that would do just that, save democracy from illegal voting by people who are not legally allowed to vote. All it would do is say, if you are voting, you need to be a legal American citizen. Democrats lost their ever-loving minds. Dem Rep Terry Sewell.
Mr. Speaker, House Republicans' so-called SAVE Act is a dangerous anti-democratic bill that has no place on this floor. It is for that reason that at the appropriate time, I will be offering a motion to recommit this bill back to the committee.
Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat leader, said this is extreme MAGA Republican anti-voting legislation.
Only citizens can vote for the United States Senate. Only citizens can vote for the presidency of the United States. So this extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill is not designed to solve any problem on behalf of the American people. It is designed to jam people up and prevent Americans from voting.
Jennifer McClellan, another Democrat representative, wasn't content to let either Sewell or Jeffries be the most extreme voice in opposition to common sense ballot reform. She's calling the requirement that only Democrat or only legal citizens vote a poll tax.
This bill is essentially a poll tax because I am not aware of a single proof of citizenship document that does not cost an individual money to get it, unless we are requiring every state to provide one for free, and then it's an unfunded mandate. This is the 2024 version of the Jim Crow poll tax, and we should vote against it.
Clearly, Delia Ramirez says it should be called the Don't Let Americans Vote Act.
If we believe in the power of democracy, we should reject discriminatory rules rooted in fear and division, and instead increase protections and expand access. This bill, they call it the SAVE Act. It should be called the Don't Let Americans Act. Don't Let Americans Vote Act. And so I rise here opposing and asking my colleagues to vote no on this bill.
Please According to Representative Delia Biden, vote no on the Don't Let Americans Act. Summer Lee, though, Democratic rep, took the cake. This bill, which requires only American citizens to vote. You have to prove your citizenship. It will impact black and LGBTQ people the most.
Republicans want to throw up barriers because when people vote, they lose. Let me be clear. They don't want you to vote. They don't want to hear black voices, brown voices, LGBTQIA voices, young voices. Our fundamental access to our democracy is being politicized. And this xenophobic attack that we're debating today will make it harder for Americans to vote. My Republican colleagues will claim that requiring IDs is a small ask, but nearly 30 million people lack a valid driver's license. And about 15 to 18 million adults don't have access to documents proving their birth or citizenship. Americans don't need more obstacles. It's already hard enough.
How hard is it to get a photo ID? You need a photo ID to get on an airplane. You need a photo ID to open up a credit card. You need a photo ID to do pretty much everything in modern life. This nonsense that black voices and brown voices will be silenced is predicated on the idea that those black and brown voices are just too stupid and incompetent to get a photo ID proving that they're an American citizen. The SAVE Act, by the way, did pass the House. 5 Democrats out of 203, something like that, did vote for it. It will undoubtedly fail in the Senate. My guess is it won't even come up for a vote. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer will just table it. Meanwhile, Biden is promising to veto it. Now, what possible reason could you have to oppose non-citizens voting unless, of course, you want non-citizens voting? This is the thing that Democrats absolutely can't answer. As they swear up and down they want to make elections as secure as possible, they want to make it impossible to prove citizenship. And oh, hey, isn't it a coincidence that 10 million people have just flooded into the United States illegally since the last presidential election? So weird. They come in. You don't have to ask them whether or not they're United States citizens. You send out ballots to every single household in your state. And voila. You've got a totally safe, secure election in which only legal votes are counted. We name the unhinged liberal of the day. And a reminder coming up after the 10 o'clock news, blockbuster story about a crime in Wisconsin.
Attorney Tom Nichols.
When somebody throws a monkey wrench into the works of your business, it requires immediate attention. Not just from a legal standpoint, but also from a peace of mind perspective. You're being sued. It puts a scare into even the most sophisticated of individuals. You need an ally. The seasoned counsel at Meisner, Tierney, Fisher, Nichols can help. Scott Riegel, who himself comes from a multi-generational family business, has a unique understanding of this dynamic. He is well poised to evaluate the risk and make it go away. And after that, he can help you prevent it from happening again. And it helps that he's licensed in California, too. Business owners never want to see a lawsuit complaint, but Scott and our team of attorneys can help keep things under control. And it might be worth talking to us now to stave off those future bogeys.
Good clients deserve good lawyers. Meisner, Tierney, Fisher, and Nichols. MTFN.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
How long have you been living with that joint pain? You're calling it an old sports injury or just old age, but you just don't have to live with it. Jay Weber here saying it took me too long to figure that out. If you're someone who's experiencing spine or musculoskeletal pain or shoulder, hip, or knee pain, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. They're the doctors and techs that I trust with my shoulder problems. I've had issues for years, and there's not enough damage to warrant surgery, so Ortho Wisconsin helps me manage the pain. Their clinicians, physicians, and surgeons are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and handle everything from simple strains sprains and tears to sports injuries to managing degenerative diseases to complex joint replacements. In fact, Orthopedic Associates specializes in same-day total joint replacements at their ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee, and lesser treatments like physical therapy can be done at the Pewaukee, Brookfield, and New Berlin locations. Based on my experiences, you will be impressed with Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin and their staff. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Honey, I can't find my fishing gear. Do you know where it is?
I think I saw it the other day. Look in the big closet, in the hallway, in the same corner as the Halloween ornaments.
Oh, right, next to the binders full of baseball cards on the shelf with all the miscellaneous wires and plugs.
That's right, and underneath the plastic bins of books and journals and photo albums.
I don't see it. Are you sure?
Check in the box labeled baby toys.
Aha, here it is.
We should call Tailored Closets featuring Premier Garage.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Hi, I'm Brian Webb. Almost 15 years ago, I had the Tailored Closet feature Premier Garage do my epoxy garage floor, garage cabinets, and my closets in my home. I was so impressed with the results, we bought the company and added it to our existing growing businesses. Let us help you and give us a call for a free consultation at 262-875-3010. That's 262-875-3010. Or visit us online at tailoredcloset.com. That's tailoredcloset.com.
Have you heard the buzz? I'm not talking about the latest tabloid gossip. I'm referring to the buzz from the wires that feed your home's electrical power. That's the most important buzz of all. But when you don't hear the buzz, you're left powerless. Talk about a buzzkill. But I have some good buzz to share. Mr. Howland's Home Services can install a brand new, whole house backup generator directly into your electrical system. So if Mother Nature goes on a rampage, or if the grid has gridlock, you can still keep the lights lit, the fridge is fridging, Wi-Fi-ing, and your busy day buzzing. All because you listen to the good buzz about Mr. Howland's whole house generators. Don't wait until the buzz dies down. Keep the lights on and give Mr. Howland's Home Services a buzz today. Call 866-992-1717 or buzz on over to MrHowlandsHomeservices.com. If you want to stay buzzed, we can help.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
The 10 o'clock hour, Froedtert Hospital and the Milwaukee Police Department, you would think, by necessity, need to work hand in hand to fight crime in Milwaukee. Well, one side is apparently, according to multiple officers, refusing to do so. Why? And how did that come to a head on Tuesday night in a shootout between Milwaukee police detectives and a suspect who was processed and released multiple times back out on the streets by a Milwaukee County criminal justice system that seems obsessed with making those streets as dangerous as possible? It is a blockbuster story. You will not hear it reported anywhere else. It is coming up after the 10 o'clock news. I was actually somewhat shocked when I heard about it. You will be too. Right now, though, it's time to name today's Unhinged Liberal of the Day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is Ian Ward, who is a reporter at Politico.com. New piece out this morning. Conservatives see a conspiracy around Joe Biden's stumbles. The right has become obsessed with the media after the president's bad debate. Conservatives' intense focus on alleged collusion between senior Democratic officials and the mainstream media is hardly unprecedented. Trump and his allies have accused the fake news of Democrat bias since 2016. Nor is it fully backed up, as the media had covered concerns about Biden's age many times before the debate. But this new round of media bashing underscores the extent to which the modern Republican Party now defines itself in terms of opposition to what it perceives as a corrupt establishment or a liberal regime that includes both the Democratic Party and the mainstream media. Ian, where the hell have you been for the last 50 years? Republicans have been saying this for decades, that the media is in the tank for Democrats, that they essentially serve as the Praetorian Guard for the ruling party. But yes, we're now pouncing, and we see a conspiracy surrounding the obvious conspiracy to keep quiet reports about Biden's failings and mental lapses that we're now getting a flood of, weirdly enough, the exact moment the Democrat Party wants to throw Biden overboard. Ian Ward, Politico reporter, your unhinged liberal of the day. Is the collusion between Democrats and the media not proven by the fact that now Carl Bernstein, of all people, said, oh, yeah, people have been telling me for more than a year that Biden's a shell of his former self. He can barely even function. George Clooney writes a big op-ed. Well, this is going to turn the tide against Biden. He admits that at the fundraiser 3 weeks ago, Biden could barely function. Then he sat by, well, the media, even though they all could see the same thing, said, no, this is cheap fake. This is a selectively edited video. This is just Republicans doing what Republicans do. It's that dastardly RNC research account on X. This is collusion. There has always been collusion. The big freak out is now all of them, the Democrats, the media, the debate proved that they can no longer hide what they have been hiding for 4 years. That Biden's not up to the task, that Republicans were right all along, that conservatives weren't faking his infirmity. And the panic is that, well, the American people have finally seen it. Despite our best efforts for years, we can't fool them anymore. The emperor well and truly has no, well, he's got clothes, thankfully. The emperor has no brain. And now everyone can see it. Coming up after the top of the hour news, a shootout with Milwaukee police detectives, an armed suspect who had basically been committing violent crimes for 4 years with no consequence. A career criminal who shows up at Froedtert Hospital with gunshot wounds, and Froedtert makes minimal effort to contact the Milwaukee Police Department. An innocent mistake or something more? Multiple Milwaukee Police Department sources say this is a pattern of behavior from Froedtert that is thoroughly unacceptable. An exclusive story coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show next.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Tad Allen. A man was arrested yesterday after allegedly exchanging gunfire with Milwaukee police on the city's north side the night before. Police say two of their detectives noticed a man grab somebody and point a firearm at their head. When When the detectives ordered the man to get on the ground, they say the man pointed his gun at them. After an exchange of gunfire, the man ran from the scene. Late yesterday afternoon, Milwaukee officers located and arrested the 28-year-old man who had a non-fatal gunshot wound and was taken to a hospital. The daughter of a former Waupun Correctional Institute inmate who killed himself in 2023 urges lawmakers to act. At the Capitol Tuesday, the Assembly Committee on Corrections heard from Megan Kolb, who said the death of her father, Dean Hoffman, could have been prevented.
In an effort to try to understand why my dad would take such a drastic measure, we began the agonizing quest into getting his records. I found that they had missed his medications more often than they gave them to him. He had no psych exam, and he was ignored when he asked for help.
State Department of Corrections is under increased scrutiny following the death of a Lincoln Hills youth prison counselor and the filing of criminal charges against several staff members at Waupun Prison in connection to the deaths of 2 inmates. President Biden will be put to the test tonight when he holds his first solo news conference of the year. The unscripted news conference following a 3-day NATO summit will be another attempt for Biden to rebuff his critics and back his insistence that he's healthy enough to stay in the presidential race. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Brewers wrap up their series with the Pittsburgh Pirates later on today at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Ahlin on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships letting you know about the Lynch Tent Sales event. Summer has finally arrived, and that means it's time to get your vehicle ready for that annual road trip up north, or maybe you're heading out to your favorite county fair or concert. You can always trust the Lynch Service Department with their convenient hours to get your vehicle safe and ready for the road. But maybe your current ride needs a little more TLC than usual. Maybe it's time to visit the showroom and receive a $2,500 trade assist on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair Trade-In value for your current car. It's the Lynch Tent Sales event all month long with hundreds of vehicles priced aggressively to sell and a $2,500 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair value. The deals are heating up at Lynch. Take that road trip up north in the comfort of a new or Lynch-certified car, truck, or SUV. The Lynch Tent Sales event happening all month long. Visit a showroom today or visit shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
We could see a few isolated showers today, otherwise partly sunny. Should see a high in the upper 70s and low 80s away from the lake. A little cooler lakeside on a northeast breeze. A few clouds and low 60s tonight, then sunshine tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Summit Racing Equipment.
Upgrade your hot rod or muscle car with parts from Summit Racing. And right now, shop summitracing.com and use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Summitracing.com. Exclusions apply. Offer ends July 21st, 2024.
Hi, I'm Jeff Kelm. Join Dan Small and me for Outdoors Radio Saturday mornings at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by Hupy & Abraham, Wisconsin's largest personal injury law firm. 800-800-5678 or HUPY.com.
We don't avoid phone calls. We don't not call people back. We don't try to figure out ways not to take care of something.
Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
So many times you hear about, that item had a 1-year warranty on it. It's 13 months. Sorry.
We wouldn't bat an eye. Our service team would call out and say, how can I help? I'll dig through the archives and figure out how to find that little broken handle, and I'll come up with a solution for you.
If the consumers knew what we do on the customer service end of things, they wouldn't hardly believe it.
PennyMustard.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Breathing triangle problems negatively affect your sleep, making it hard to be at your best. Balloon Sinuplasty can help solve these problems so you can breathe well, sleep well, and live better.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's Mike from Milwaukee Lawn Sprinkler. I'm proud to mark 50 incredible years in the irrigation business. Join my son Paul and I this Saturday on the Remodeling Show as we talk irrigation. Enjoy summer. We'll do the watering. Visit MilwaukeeLawnSprinkler.com.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The Republican National Convention runs here in Milwaukee July 15th through the 18th, and you can listen to our live coverage every night starting at 7. Every impactful development, every memorable moment. Catch them all right here as part of our coverage of Decision 2024 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. 10 o'clock hour begins with the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest, and the word this hour is bills. Pay your bills with $1,000 courtesy of your friends at iHeartMedia, BILLS Bills. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website, enter the keyword bills. Your entry is picked at random. You will win $1,000 instantly. Now, if you have been playing, you'll know that this is not a text-in contest. So, I am going to remind you that I'm going to give out the text-in number now. Do not text the word bills to 414-799-1130 if you would like to respond to something I say, add to the show. We do constantly monitor the texts. I have been derelict in my duty to read some of your best texts on the air. We will remedy that throughout this hour. You can also reach us 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X. You can watch the show streaming live via X, by the DanoCam on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, or on YouTube. Press release yesterday evening. An incident that happened a night earlier, Tuesday, July 9th. This from the Milwaukee Police Department. At approximately 7:27 p.m., in the 1500 block of West Hopkins Avenue, 2 Milwaukee Police Department detectives were riding in an unmarked squad when they observed a suspect grab an individual and point a firearm at the individual's head. The detectives then stopped and exited the squad and ordered the suspect to get on the ground while identifying themselves as police. The suspect pointed his firearm at the detectives. Both detectives fired towards the suspect. The suspect then fled the area. At that time, MPD did not believe that the suspect was injured. Information about this incident was released last evening by the Night Watch commander. Today, Wednesday, July 10th, 2024, at approximately 4:15 p.m., MPD officers located and arrested the 28-year-old male suspect in the 2900 block of North 37th Street, at which time it was determined that the suspect sustained a non-fatal gunshot injury. He was transported to a local hospital for treatment. The detectives involved in this incident are a 50-year-old male with over 16 years of service and a 40-year-old male with over 10 years of service. Both detectives will be placed on administrative duty, as is routine in an officer-involved shooting. This is a fluid and ongoing investigation. A community briefing discussing this incident will be released in the future. That was the press release at about 5:15 yesterday afternoon. It does not tell nearly the complete story. The suspect, you see, wasn't treated at a hospital once after he was in custody, but twice. Following the shootout, he was struck by officers' bullets at least twice. Non-fatal injuries. He was able to get away. He took off and showed up at Froedtert Hospital's emergency room. Froedtert treated him, and they called the Detectives Bureau. Now, it was after hours. Nobody answered at the Detective Bureau, so they let it be. They never called dispatch, even though they knew that they had someone who's injured in a gunshot. He's not saying anything about what happened. You know, was he jumped? What happened? Is there a suspect on the loose? You would think Froedtert would be cooperating, would call dispatch, hey, we've got a guy with gunshot wounds here. You probably want to come down and see him. They never did that. They called the Detective Bureau, and that was it. They treated the suspect. He was released. He's on the loose for nearly 24 hours before officers are able to track him down. Remember, this is a guy who held a gun to somebody's head, possibly intending to murder them. And then when he was approached by Milwaukee police detectives, he pointed his gun and started firing at them, clearly intending to kill them so he could get away. Froedtert Hospital made just a minimal effort to get this guy in custody. Why? The guy in custody, I have learned, is named Mark Anthony Parr. He's 28 years old. He has a birthday this month, 1996. His criminal career goes back a decade, when he was charged and convicted of battery to law enforcement officers, resisting or obstructing. He was given 90 days in the House of Correction. He had a lot of paternity actions, a couple of municipal ordinance violations in the intervening 7 years. But on March 15th, 2021, he engages in much the same crime. He's trying to get away from law enforcement for doing something criminal, and he engages in violent behavior. He's charged with operating a vehicle to elude an officer and second-degree recklessly endangering safety. He's freed on $1,500 signature bond. Now, let's pause to reflect on this for a second. He is fleeing and eluding an officer. He's endangering safety to such a degree that he gets a second-degree recklessly endangering safety charge. Clearly, this guy is a flight risk. But instead of imposing any sort of cash bond, he's set free on a signature bond, so he only has to sign his name, promising to show up, or he forfeits the money. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that he did not stop committing crimes while he was out on his signature bond. While he's out, July 1st, 2021, he's caught with a gun. Now he's charged with first-degree recklessly endangering safety, possession of a firearm by a felon, and bail jumping. On the first charge, operating a vehicle, eluding second-degree recklessly endangering safety, he's sentenced to state prison for 3 years. Extended supervision, another 3 years. Okay, that's a good sentence, right? Wrong. The 3-year prison sentence was stayed. So too was extended supervision. It was stayed. Instead, he gets 3 years probation. Now remember, he's got a second case. Sentencing is the same day. This was, I believe, last April of 2023. The first degree recklessly endangering safety. So he's endangering safety to a greater degree, waving a gun around, bail jumping, all of this. Of course, the bail jumping charge is dismissed but read into the record. This means he essentially got a free pass on jumping bail. Charge was dismissed. So too was the felon in possession charge by the exact same people. I will remind you, we had another case like this just yesterday, I believe, maybe Tuesday, where the felon in possession case is just dismissed. So if you're a felon and you're in possession of a firearm, there is essentially no consequence for you because that charge is obviously going to be dismissed the second you take a plea deal. He's sentenced to 2 years in prison, 2 more of extended supervision. Guess what? That sentence, too, was stayed. He gets another 3 years probation. He's sentenced to the House of Correction for 9 months with Huber privileges. That means he gets to be out while he's working. So by my count, we have got 5 felonies over the past 3 years that this guy has committed, for which he got absolutely no prison time at all. He's out, he's holding a gun to a woman's head. Police come upon him. He tries to kill them. He gets away and he gets to Fredert. Now, I sent an email to Fredert Hospital's media line this morning asking for some clarification about what happened. Was this an innocent snafu that Fredert Hospital just, they didn't get a hold of someone at the detective bureau? They tried dispatch. It's one of those things that happens. It's unfortunate, but it was an accident. Fredert normally complies with everything law enforcement wants to do. This, according to multiple law enforcement sources from multiple different agencies, does not appear to be the case. In fact, all of those sources tell me that Fredert has had a long-standing refusal to cooperate with law enforcement investigations, not even letting officers see criminal suspects who are injured in the course of committing their crimes, citing HIPAA, patient confidentiality. Unsurprisingly, all of the sources say they can actually pinpoint the time frame that this started. Fredert Hospital, which of course has the largest emergency room in the area, is the place where the vast majority of criminal victims and suspects who are injured in the course of committing their crimes alike go to. Long about June 2020, Fredert stopped cooperating with law enforcement. They threw up barrier after barrier, these sources say, and I'm telling you folks, this is multiple law enforcement agencies all telling me the same thing. You can't talk to this suspect, even though police absolutely do have a right in an ongoing criminal investigation to go into a hospital and to communicate with, to question a suspect. Time is almost always of the essence in these investigations, so they need to get the information as quickly as possible. Fredert, however, and in fact, I have multiple memos in my possession from at least one of these law enforcement agencies, the Milwaukee Police Department, responding to Fredert's newfound reluctance and refusal to allow officers to talk to suspects or to further investigate crimes when the suspects are being treated by Fredert Hospital. This has, in other words, been an ongoing battle that started at the exact moment that the political and cultural left in this country decided that law enforcement was evil, it was racist, it was oppressive, and this was long about the time that liaison officers were booted out of schools across Wisconsin and across the country. We defunded the police, we decriminalized crime, and now we're still seeing 4 years later the ramifications of this in the outright impediment to law enforcement being able to investigate crimes, being able to get suspects into custody as quickly as possible and get them questioned where they might actually give up information that might lead to a co-conspirator in that crime, that might lead to maybe a victim that can't be located, something like that. Information gathering as quickly as possible is critical for law enforcement. Why is Fredert Hospital standing in the way of that? And why has it been doing so for the past 4 years? Doctors, in their Hippocratic oath, swear to first do no harm. They are doing harm. If, in fact, and Fredert has not yet responded to my email, but I'm hearing this from far too many law enforcement officers for this to be a coincidence. If Fredert Hospital is, in fact, making it this difficult for law enforcement officers to solve crimes, this is a major problem. And if this is, in fact, a stated or written policy of Fredert Hospital to not let law enforcement officers in to see suspects, to just freeze them out, citing HIPAA, I hate to break it to you folks. HIPAA deals with medical records, okay? It doesn't deal with there is someone here who is wanted in a crime. Your rights to patient privacy and confidentiality need to be balanced against the interests of you shot at 2 law enforcement officers and those officers really need to come and take you into custody. If you commit a heinous crime, the interests of protecting the public and solving said crime outweigh your patient privacy interests. It's not as though the officers are going through this guy's records and saying, oh, hey, he's got 4 STDs. We should probably publicize that in our press release. They're doing this to solve a crime. They're doing this to take an obviously extremely violent individual into custody. Let me remind you yet again, this guy held a gun to somebody's head. Who knows if he was going to pull the trigger? I would argue that if you're holding a gun to somebody's head, your intent is clearly to pull the trigger. 2 detectives happen to come upon him. What does he immediately do? Turn his gun on the officers and start shooting. This is about as dangerous an individual as we could have in Milwaukee, and he's set free by a hospital that appears to have as its policy a refusal to comply with law enforcement. We will continue with this. Get your reaction to it as well when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY, finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
This is David Bellman with Bellman Homes, and I can show you how you can save over $312 a month and 60 hours a year buying a Pebblebrook Hollow Bellman home in the village of Waukesha compared to a similarly priced home in the city.
Bellman Homes. Save big money on your next upgrade now at Menards. Some things never go out of style like tile from Mohawk. In kitchens, bathrooms, or backsplashes, you can count on the durability and easy maintenance of tile. From classic design to contemporary chic, with over 350 tiles to choose from. Check out all our tile options at Menards. #1 in customer satisfaction among home improvement retailers according to J.D. Power. For more information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have finance options for new exterior remodeling projects for almost anybody. And if you have the right credit, we'll beat your bank's rate.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
If you had $1 million in 2009, today it will be worth less than $700,000. That's the effect of out-of-control government spending shrinking your hard-earned dollars, and it's why central banks and savvy investors are buying gold. For thousands of years, gold has withstood war, famine, and economic downturns. It's been a stalwart hedge against inflation and hyperinflation. And the company Buck Sexton, trust to help you diversify into gold is Birch Gold Group. For 2 decades, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold, too.
To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 and get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Again, text SECURE to the number 989898 to protect your hard-earned savings today.
An exclusive story, Froedtert Hospital treats and releases a suspect who got in a shootout with Milwaukee police detectives on Tuesday night. They apparently called the detective bureau. Nobody answered, primarily because the detectives were probably all busy investigating the shootout that this guy, whose name I have been able to identify as Mark Anthony Parr, the shootout he got in with officers just a couple of hours earlier, they apparently make no effort to call dispatch and set the suspect on his merry way. He's out free. Now, the gunshot wounds were non-life-threatening until he's finally taken into custody at about 4:15 yesterday afternoon. Multiple law enforcement's ongoing problem with Froedtert, which obviously operates the largest emergency room, I believe, in the state of Wisconsin. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but this is where the vast majority of criminal suspects are taken when they're injured in the commission of their crimes, especially if there's a law enforcement shootout and the suspect is shot by law enforcement. Immediately, EMS is there. They take the suspect as quickly as possible to Froedtert. Almost invariably, they go to Froedtert. Since June of 2020, in what appears to be a George Floyd effect issue, Froedtert and its medical staff has increasingly been, in the words of one law enforcement source, obstructive in their dealings with police, that they are openly obstructing ongoing investigations by refusing to allow law enforcement officers to see these suspects. This also raises the rather obvious question, how often has this happened, where someone comes in with a gunshot wound And Milwaukee police simply never know about it. They're injured, say, in a shootout with another gangbanger, but Froedtert just doesn't inform Milwaukee police, so there is no criminal investigation. This, folks, I don't think I need to tell you, is a massive issue. I have reached out to Froedtert Hospital requesting more information as to why exactly they made only a shallow, superficial effort to contact the Milwaukee Police Department. I have not yet heard back. I have not yet heard exactly what their rationale is. I am reaching out to the Milwaukee Police Department for an official comment also on their dealings with Froedtert Hospital, because I have heard from, and I'm hearing via email, via text from a number of other law enforcement officers who I have not spoken with before, say, yeah, Dan, this has been an ongoing problem. We have had massive issues pretty much straight for the past 4 years with Froedtert just refusing to cooperate with us. Now, this strikes me, given the leadership of Froedtert and its openness about its liberal ideology over the past several years, it seems to me that this is part and parcel of the left's anti-police mentality. But again, I don't know. I have not yet heard what the reason for this is. Coming up after the top of the hour, we are going to have a special guest, Ann Bradbury, the CEO of the AXPC, American Exploration and Production Council. Gas prices sky high. Oil production, a massive issue in the presidential race. Bradbury will discuss exactly how. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. Dan O'Donnell here for my awesome friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's July sale and clearance mattress sale is on now. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, and more. Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. Built Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep, as I do on my Built Right Heirloom mattress. They do the research for you, and their team will take the time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield, just off I-894.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Kino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dan O'Donnell alongside the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. This week, perhaps more than any other week in recent memory, politics and economics are colliding as President Biden says he is staying in this race despite questions about his mental acuity. What is that level of certainty going to do for markets? How does this race shape up? It's probably too early to tell, but Dave, early signs still point to a Trump victory, though I will caution it is very early.
Yeah, it is early, no question about that. But you look at the cracks in the economy right now, unemployment above 4%, GDP slowing, manufacturing has been in contraction for more than a year and a half, and inflation is slowing. So that should suggest that you'll see some Fed action here before election time. We'll have to see, but policy is really important when it comes to obviously who is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, even though at this moment we're not sure who's going to run. That is the reason why we talk about diversification, especially as we start the second half of the year. Earnings season will start in earnest in about a week or so. Folks, you have to look at your portfolios because the Magnificent Seven's performance overwhelmed that of the S&P 500. That may expand. Make sure that you understand what's in your portfolio, why it's there, and how much you're paying for it.
And that's why we urge you to get a wealth metric. It's a review of that portfolio with a set of eyes that is working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary. You can only get that at annexwealth.com. It's impossible to time the market. That's why you need to have a plan for both the short and long term. For Dave Spano, CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Folks that have heard me over the years know that we're a Marvin window and door dealer. We like them because they build quality products, and they like us because we sell a lot of those quality products for them. And that gives us the luxury of being able to offer Marvin windows in more sizes and color combinations than anyone. And that's good for you, especially if you're not willing to compromise on quality. Because the Marvin family of brands strives to push design to its limits in aesthetics, function, and durability. Their products are preferred for new construction, remodels, and replacement projects when compromise isn't an option. Obviously, installation matters too, and we are fanatics about it because we know that quality products can't be as good as their build without the finest installation. This is David Wilhelm. If you're just not willing to settle for less, choose your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door for Marvin windows and doors that are built around you.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
The Medal of Honor is the highest military decoration in the United States. Since it was established in 1861, there have been 3,517 people awarded with the medal. I'm Malcolm Gladwell, and our new podcast from Pushkin Industries and iHeartMedia is about those heroes. Listen to Medal of Honor, Stories of Courage on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Medal of Honor, Stories of Courage.
Smart speakers put WISN's programs as close as the sound of your voice. Tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio and listen to Milwaukee's best talk shows.
The revolution will not be televised.
A talk radio revolution.
The revolution is here.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Coming up tomorrow, we are going to have a spectacular preview of the Republican National Convention coming to Milwaukee on Monday. It's going to start actually Sunday afternoon as the delegates start to arrive. Big party on the Summerfest grounds. And it is going to be 4 straight days of celebration of conservatism, of republicanism, of populist conservatism, of the Republican Party. And we are going to have a number of guests, including at this time tomorrow, Reince Priebus, perhaps the man most responsible for getting the... Look, I know it's a team of dozens, if not hundreds of people who got the Republican Party here, but we've got to tip our caps to Reince because he was the driving force, and obviously because of his national reputation, was able to sell Wisconsin and able to sell Milwaukee to the RNC. Joining me now to talk about energy policy, which is one of the issues that is most driving inflation, whether or not we know it or not, is the president of the AXPC, the CEO, I should say, the American Exploration and Production Council, Ann Bradbury. Ann, welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Really do appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Dan. It's great to be with you.
So before we begin, what exactly does your organization do?
Sure. So AXPC represents the largest oil and gas producers in the United States. So our companies are responsible for well over half of all domestically produced oil and natural gas in the U.S. We like to say we're responsible for the American energy revolution that's occurred over the last decade or two.
So domestic energy production was a big priority of the Trump administration. Of course, we were energy independent for the first time in a long time. And then when candidate Joe Biden started saying, I'm going to kill domestic energy, I want to kill the oil industry because it pollutes, all of that, your member organizations and companies had to be saying, well, this isn't great, right?
So, the last 3.5 years have been really challenging for the industry. We've seen every agency across the federal government in regulatory overdrive, putting out regulations that drive up the cost of production. We've seen fewer leases issued by this administration than any administration, Republican or Democrat, in generations. And so it's made it harder to produce oil and gas in the U.S., more expensive to produce oil and gas in the U.S., and unfortunately, all that does is drive up the cost for the American people and empower our adversaries like Russia and Iran.
How important is it for America to be energy independent because of exactly what you said?
It's essential. Because America is now the leading oil and gas producer, we are able to enjoy lower and more stable energy prices than much of the world. But not only that, we've been a huge force for good in the world by exporting some of our energy to our allies around the world to make the world a more stable place. So, 50 years ago, when there was unrest in the Middle East, the United States faced, a crisis in the economy and shortages at the gas pumps. And because the U.S. is now the biggest producer of oil in the world, we're certainly impacted by those events, but there's a huge buffer. And the American people now don't feel those overseas conflicts as acutely as we did in the past few decades.
So over the past 3 years, we have seen this massive regulatory spike that has led to not just a huge increase in the price of gas, unleaded and premium and the like, that of course peaked in the summer of 2022. President Biden was forced to tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, not for a geopolitical strategy, but for a political strategy to keep gas prices as low as possible heading into the 2022 midterms. I think what hasn't quite been as sharp a focus for anyone, myself included, is the massive spike in the cost of diesel and how much that has contributed to overall inflation as companies are forced to pay far more to transport their goods across the country. Do you believe also that the increased cost of diesel is what has been a primary driver of food inflation and goods inflation?
Absolutely. Energy, oil and natural gas are foundational to every aspect of our economy. So when the price of diesel goes up because the price of crude goes up, that increases transportation costs, it increases fertilizer costs, and all of these lead to higher food costs. It leads to higher manufacturing costs. Because the price of energy goes up, so the price of all these goods, services, and foods go up as well. So energy is really a driver behind inflation. And when regulatory policies and pipelines are canceled, making it harder to transport oil and gas, come out of this administration, it absolutely increases energy prices and then drives up the cost of all these other goods and services across the board.
Do you believe this has been a concerted effort that President Biden has been making good on his campaign promise to sort of choke the American energy industry in the interests of, cutting down on greenhouse gas emissions or solving climate change?
We both heard what, candidate Vice President Biden said when he was running, that he was going to shut down, fracking in the United States. One of his, earliest executive orders was to take a whole of government approach to climate change, which we have really seen as an anti-oil and gas agenda. So I do think that there has been some very intentional policies to make it harder and more expensive to produce oil and gas in America. What's ironic about that, though, is that emissions actually decreased more during the first 3 years of the Trump administration than they have under the first 3 years of the Biden administration. Because what the Trump policies recognized is that you can have both a robust energy sector and increased oil and gas production and drive down emissions, because the United States produces some of the cleanest and most responsible oil and natural gas in the world, and these are global commodities.
There has been a contention on the left that what is driving inflation, particularly energy inflation, has been price gouging on the part of oil companies, that they have seen record high profits and that they're, in fact, preying on the American consumer. Is there any truth to that?
There is no truth to that. And in fact, I would say they're, trying to shift blame. But the fact is that oil and natural gas are global commodities, and that these prices are set in the global marketplace. The U.S. is responsible for about 15% of global production, but the United States is also responsible for about half of all new global production since COVID. So U.S. energy producers are doing our part to keep energy prices low by increasing production and putting more supply into the marketplace. Unfortunately, the policies coming out of this administration and from Democrats in Congress are making that more and more challenging.
She is Ann Bradbury, the CEO of AXPC, joining me here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Ann, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you and coming on the show, and especially debunking that last one, because I can remember back in the summer of 22, that's all liberal callers and people responding to posts I would make on social media or something like, well, it's price gouging. It's price gouging. It's big oil once again. There really isn't a whole lot of truth to that, because aren't the margins for oil production smaller than one might think because of the high costs of it?
They are, and the biggest contributor to the price of gas at the pump is the price of crude oil. And the only way to bring that number down is to put more crude into the global marketplace to increase supply. So, absolutely sympathize with folks who feel the pain every time the price at the pump goes up. But it's not a matter of price gouging; it's a matter of bad policies.
Ann Bradbury, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. We'd love to have you back on again if you would be so kind.
Absolutely, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. I am Dan O'Donnell. It's conservative thought, not just talk. The Dan O'Donnell Show returns after this. Dan O'Donnell here for the incredible team at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. And you hear me talk about my great experiences with Mander all the time. Here's David. I had a chip in my windshield of my 2009 Chevy Malibu repaired today. Scheduling was a breeze. Staff was great. I was in and out in under half an hour. That's the Mander difference for you. Quick, professional work with customer service that's second to none. They treat you as a valued member of the family and not just a number like some of the big national chains. It's service that you can only get with a third-generation family business, and that's why I've been using Mander Collision and Glass for so many years, and so many listeners are now discovering and have discovered the Mander difference too. You can check them out at any one of their great locations: Cedarburg, Brookfield, Heartland, Milwaukee, Muskego, or Waukesha, and start your repair today at mandercollision.com.
It was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
If you had $1 million in 2009, today it will be worth less than $700,000. That's the effect of out-of-control government spending shrinking your hard-earned dollars, and it's why central banks and savvy investors are buying gold. For thousands of years, gold has withstood war, famine, and economic downturns. It's been a stalwart hedge against inflation and hyperinflation. And the company Buck Sexton Trust, to help you diversify into gold is Birch Gold Group. For 2 decades, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold, too.
To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 and get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Again, text PROTECT to the number 989898 to protect your hard-earned savings today.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hey, Wisconsin. It's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran into a gap in your air ducts, made a nest, pooped, and died. Breathe easy after Clean Living Environments cleans your air ducts, will seal air in and mice out. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
It was a sobering headline. Social Security to run short by 2035. A possible 17% reduction in benefits. At Annex Wealth Management, we feel that Social Security is only one leg of the retirement stool, but it provides needed balance. It's time to stress test your retirement plan and move forward with guidance from the fee-only fiduciaries at Annex. Do it for you, your family, your legacy. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. It only takes a few minutes to get the ball rolling. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
Tired of neighbors hounding you or whatever kind of dog they have? Fence Finders has countless options, from simple chain link separation to beautiful architectural art fences to view blocking, sound deflecting privacy fences. Enjoy neighbors enjoying their property. MilwaukeeFenceFinders.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Yeah, we do thank Ann Bradbury of the AXPC. She is fantastic on energy policy. Love to talk to her again. Some sad news to pass along here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Shelley Duvall has passed away at the age of 75 from complications of diabetes. Of course, by far her best known role was in The Shining, a role that she later said, because of director Stanley Kubrick, left her traumatized. She said Kubrick had her crying for 12 hours a day for weeks on end. This was in an infamous interview she gave to People magazine in 1981. I will never give that much again. If you want me to get into pain and call it art, go ahead, but not with me. She suffered from diabetes for some time. She took off from Hollywood in about the mid-1990s. She died in her sleep of complications from the disease at her home in Blanco, Texas. Dan Gilroy, her life partner since 1989, told The Hollywood Reporter, "My dear, sweet, wonderful life partner and friend left us. Too much suffering lately. Now she's free. Fly away. Beautiful. Shelley." Duvall, of course, in recent years, admitted that she was suffering from severe mental illness. I believe it was November of 2016. Yep, that's right. According to The Hollywood Reporter, she appeared on an episode of the syndicated talk show Dr. Phil, revealed that she was suffering from mental illness. "I am very sick. I need help." 4 years later, The Hollywood Reporter followed up on her as she was seeking treatment in a very famous article, "Searching for Shelley Duvall, the reclusive icon on fleeing Hollywood and the scars of making The Shining," where she expanded on that interview in 1981 and said Kubrick was downright abusive, and he was known for just take after take after take to get it absolutely perfect. Well, in The Shining, Duvall was screaming in terror. Of course, everyone remembers the Jack Nicholson hacking through the bathroom door with an axe. "Here's Johnny." That line, by the way, totally improvised by Nicholson, and Kubrick, who notoriously wanted every line to be exactly as it was in the script, allowed it, kept it in the final take. But she's screaming, she's crying, she's terrified. It was just difficult for her. Some people tried to make the connection that it was The Shining that set her off on this path of mental illness. I'm not sure I believe that. She also starred in what I think is an underrated film, the Robin Williams Popeye movie. I loved it as a kid too, producer Dave. It was a lot hokey. She was, of course, Olive Oyl. And who else in 1980s Hollywood would you have play Olive Oyl than the famously rail-thin Shelley Duvall? So Shelley Duvall, rest in peace, passing away at the age of 75. I think everybody always mixed up her and Shelley Long. No. Shelley Long was from Cheers, right? That was Ted Danson's girlfriend. Yeah. See, I never watched, well, yes, in the show. I never actually watched Cheers. Cheers was a little bit before my time, mid-1980s. I was watching Fraggle Rock and Sesame Street, okay? No, my parents, I'm not sure what my parents actually watched. They would have us watch like Nick at Night when we were little kids. And I think they went to bed like right after we did, because I would watch Get Smart, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched with my mom and dad. And then I'm fairly certain that I watched a little My Three Sons. Dick Van Dyke Show is probably my favorite. Oh my gosh, who was... the woman who played the comedy writer on the Dick Van Dyke Show? She just died. It was Maury Amsterdam and Rosemary. Was that it? I feel like she just passed away too. She played Sally Rogers on Dick Van Dyke. I feel like she maybe it was a longer time. Oh, yeah, look at that. She died in 2017. Shows how much I know. I thought she'd just passed away, but yes, okay. You can always tell what the left is thinking by scanning the Drudge Report. I happened to do so just now, big above the headline story. Flashback. J.D. Vance calls pregnancy from rape or incest inconvenient as he backs abortion law, and then they link to the video. Folks, I am thinking right now J.D. Vance is probably your favorite to be Trump's running mate, based on that alone. Because if there is some opposition research on a prominent Republican, the Drudge Report will be airing it. The headline, by the way, is Biden looking very confused, scratching his head. Race still tied? A new poll, Biden and Trump tied despite the debate, as 67% call for President Biden to drop out. So yes, I absolutely believe this ABC News Washington Post poll. 67% say Biden should drop out, but he is tied with Donald Trump. Yes, that makes a whole lot of sense. What this is indicative of course, is Democrats will just vote against Trump no matter who the candidate is. I believe Trump probably has an advantage nationally, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 to 4%, which probably translates into a 5 or 6% Trump victory in the popular vote. As impossible as that sounds, I think Biden is and has been hemorrhaging support. If Trump wins by 5 or 6 in the national popular vote, it's going to be a landslide. He wins 320 electoral votes. He can lose by as much as about 5% and still win in the Electoral College. Coming up tomorrow, Reince Priebus and a preview of the Republican National Convention. I will be broadcasting live from the RNC all week long. I can't wait. We're going to have a ton of guests. We're going to have a ton of fun, and I want you to be along for the ride. So tomorrow is going to be essentially a special RNC preview show. We're going to talk about the keynote address. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about the Veep stakes and all of that. A couple of guests in the can as well to talk to. Tomorrow we will talk to you then, 9:06, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.